Adams County Court of Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session in 2 cases. First case is cause number M334096. Second case is cause number M334302. Both cases is styled in the state of Texas versus Gerald Wayne Washington. Mr. Washington, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Washington, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing fine. Give me some, let's see if he has some bond conditions. Mr. Washington, you're represented in this case by your attorney, Attorney Don Boudreaux. Attorney Boudreaux, how are you doing?
Just fine, sir.
That's good. Now, Mr. Boudreaux, what is your announcement in Mr. Washington's cases?
Your Honor, Mr. Hoppower and I believe have worked out an agreement. He'd like a little bit of time to think about it. It would be entering a plea of no contest and being put on probation for a year and forfeiture of 2 weapons.
Okay. Let me do this. Give me that other green folder. Thank you. Now, Mr. Washington, before your case is reset, I'm going to give you some bond conditions. So you and your attorney just have a seat for me to draft these bond conditions up, and then I'll call you back up. Okay. Court is back in session and calls number M 334-096, calls number M 334-302. Both cases are styled the state of Texas versus Gerald Wayne Washington. Mr. Boudreaux, would you please hand these bond conditions to Mr. Washington? Mr. Washington, your attorney just handed you a document that is titled Standard Bond Conditions in County Court at Law Number 2. Do you see that document?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will go over this document with you. And it states as follows: following the return of a criminal information in County Court at Law Number 2 of Jefferson County, Texas, all bail bonds executed for release of any defendant named herein are ordered subject to the following additional conditions. Number one, the defendant shall commit no offense against the laws of this state, any other state, or of the United States. Do you understand that condition? Condition number two, the defendant shall submit to testing for drugs and alcohol at any time as directed by the court. The court may revoke the bond and order the arrest of any defendant who A, refuses to submit to a test for drugs and alcohol when they're directed to do so by the court, or B, submit to a test for drugs and alcohol, and the test indicates the presence of drugs and alcohol in the defendant's body. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
And I think condition number 3 and 4 does not apply to you in this case, in these cases. So we'll proceed with condition number 5. And condition number 5 states the defendant is prohibited from possessing a firearm or ammunition unless the defendant is a peace officer as defined by section 1.07 of the Texas Penal Code, actively engaged in employment as a sworn full-time paid employee of a state agency or political subdivision. Do you understand that condition?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you violate any one of these conditions, your bond will be revoked, and if your bond is revoked, you'll be placed in the Jefferson County Jail and a warrant will be issued for arrest, and then you'll be placed in the Jefferson County Jail. Do you understand that? All right. Now, Mr. Washington, your cases will be reset. Give us a reset date. Your cases are reset to August 2nd of 2023. You can get your reset from your attorney. Once you get your reset from your attorney, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Did you get your, please stand in front of our court coordinators to get the recess. Jefferson County Court Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session in cause number M333930. The case is styled the state of Texas versus Jaime Isel Lores. Lyris. Mr. Lyris, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Lyris, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lyris, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. Lyris?
I'm pretty good, sir. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. Thanks for asking. Mr. Lyris, I have before me, well, Mr. Lyris, you're represented in this case by your attorney Willard Hall. Attorney Hall, do you waive a record in Mr. Lyris' case?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Lyris, I have before me a document that is titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. In this information, it alleges that you, Jaime Isel, is it, how you spell your?
Isaiah.
Isaiah?
Isaiah.
Isael. Okay. Jaime Isael Lyris, on or about August 19th of 2022, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, operating a motor vehicle in a public place, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with an alcohol concentration level of 0.15 or more. Mr. Lyris, do you understand what you have been charged with?
Yes, I understand.
And to discharge Mr. Lyris, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, are you pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Because I'm guilty.
Okay, now, Mr. Lyris, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. Ooh, okay. I think you didn't need to fill out this because it's just a Class A misdemeanor. So just, I guess you could just erase that and yeah, the one you struck out where you said it was a B. Yeah, because the punishment range is a Class A misdemeanor. B. Oh, that's right, you're right. There's something wrong with that eraser, huh?
I just circled it. I scratched it out.
Yeah, I think so. I can't erase on this thing. Let me just, I'll just put a walk through it. That's something I can't erase on this thing. Is it another stylus? Would another stylus work? It won't?
Probably not.
Okay.
I scratched it out and put my initials.
Okay, I scratched your, okay, so Mr. Lyris, I have before me a document that is titled, I'm gonna put my initials on it too. That's titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. You notice here that your attorney scratched here and I scratched and we put our initials here. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
Now on page, now this is a Class A misdemeanor and the range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor is confinement in jail for a term not to exceed 1 year, a fine not to exceed $4,000 or both such fine and confinement. Do you understand the range of punishment for a Class A misdemeanor?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, on page 2 of the same document, there's a set of initials JL on the line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir, I did.
On page 3 of the same document, there's a signature above the line that's titled defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document that's titled trial court certification of defendant's right of appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled defendant?
Yes, sir.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that statement?
Yes, sir.
Do we have the discovery certification? Okay. I also have before me a document that is titled discovery certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is This your signature on the line is titled defendant.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Lyers, before you sign and initial these documents, did your attorney go over these documents with you?
Yes, sir. He did.
And did you read and understand everything that he went over?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lyers, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, would you like to offer State's Exhibit Number 1 into evidence?
Yes, sir.
No objection.
No objection. State's Exhibit Number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Hall, you've advised and counseled Mr. Lyers. Is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Lyers, your attorney, Mr. Hall, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with his representation?
Yes, sir.
Has he provided full, effective, and competent legal representation? Mr. Lyers, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
What is that agreement?
Exchange for plea of guilty or no contest, states agree to recommend 90 days probated for 1 year, $1,000 fine and court costs, 80 hours community-based service, interlock device, and DWI standard terms and conditions.
Mr. Lyers, the state is offering that you serve 90 days in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail on this case because you'll be placed on probation for a period of 1 year. During the 1 year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $1,000, court costs of $407. You will also be required to pay a probation fee of $60 each month, a urinalysis fee of $15 each month. You'll also be required to pay a reimbursement fee of $15. You'll also be required to pay Jefferson County DWI education and initial evaluation fee of $125 on the day of the plea. Should a further evaluation be needed, you'll be required to pay an additional additional $50. Your total monthly installments, that is the total amount that you'll be required to pay each month while you're on probation, is $211 each month. Will you be able to pay the $211 each month?
Yes, sir.
You'll also be required to perform 80 hours of community service, install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, attend and complete the DWI education class. You will also be required to have a drug and alcohol assessment and adhere to the other standard terms and conditions of this probation. Mr. Lyers, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Lyers, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Lyers, you're going to stand in front of our clerk and follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day. Mr. Hall, this is your last case. You'll be free to go as well and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. Next case is cause number M333-432. Case is filed in the state of Texas versus Cody Allen Pascal. Cody Pascal was scheduled to be in court this morning for 9 a.m. At or about 9 a.m., the court's bailiff called the name of Cody Pascal at the courthouse door. Cody Pascal did not answer. Cody Pascal has not appeared in court since the court's been in session. The time now is 11:48 a.m. on today's date. Mr. Bailiff, would you please call the name of Cody Pascal's name at the courthouse door? Would you please call the name of Cody Pascal's name at the courthouse door?
Cody Pascal. Cody Pascal.
No response.
Cody Pascal's name was just called at the courthouse door by the court's bailiff. Cody Pascal did not answer. A reasonable time has passed to give Mr. Pascal an opportunity to appear in court, and he has not appeared in court. State, do you have a motion?
Move the bond forward.
That motion will be granted. Cody Pascal's bond will be forfeited and a warrant shall be issued for his arrest. And cause number 333432. And this will conclude the calling of both dockets, that is the motion to revoke probation docket and the announcement docket in County Court at Law number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, on today's date of June 7th of 2023. The court will be in recess until 1:30 when we will resume the trial that we started on yesterday, and today's date, June 7th, 2023.